Okay, so we are on this new little halacha, and then we're going to go to the 8 levels. So this is a strange halacha. Okay, hakofe acherim litin tzedakah umaase osan, which is a strange lashon. Someone who forces others to give tzedakah, and maase, which is Makbili says gorem lahem lasos, causes them to do. Okay, it's just a weird conjunction of it's like it's like hifil for ase. Okay, mishachnea osam lases tzedakah, who like subordinates them, subdues them to give tzedakah, compels them to give tzedakah. Scharo gadol mischara nosein, they get more reward than the person who actually gives. Okay, if you compel someone to give tzedakah, then you get more reward than the giver. The al gabai tzedakah v'kiyotz behen nemar umatstike harabim kacholchavim, and regarding the gabai tzedakah, collectors of tzedakah. It is said in Daniel, those who cause the masses to be righteous like the stars. Now, I am only familiar with Daniel up through chapter 6, I think 5, through chapter 5, but not 12. So I have no idea what the context is here. It says, I'm going to actually get the article so I can get the bullet points on the side, because I have no idea what this is talking about. Daniel 12:1. Looks like this is some form of I don't want to call it a nevuah, but some sort of vision about the future. And it says, at that time Michael will stand, the great heavenly prince who stands in support of the members of your people. And there will be a time of trouble such as there had never been since there was a nation until that time. But at that time, your people will escape. Everything that is found written in this book will recur. Oh, and then we get to the pasuk, which is the source. Rambam says is the one of the few sources in Torah Substack for Tchias Mesim. Many of those who sleep in the dusty earth will awaken. These for everlasting life, and these for shame, for everlasting abhorrence. The wise will shine like the radiance of the firmament, and those who teach righteousness to the multitudes will shine like the stars forever and ever. So that's the pasuk he said. Matstike harabim. What is it in Hebrew there? V'hamaskilim yizaru kazohar rakia umatstike harabim kachochavim lolam va'ed. Yeah, so it sounds like you're saying. So basically, if you force people to give tzedakah, then you get more reward than the people who actually give. Yeah. So the question is why. Meaning because you have to force them? Yeah. I don't think so, because I would think that maybe from the first sentence, but the fact that you're saying gavai tzedakah get this praise, it sounds like, in other words, it sounds like there is the reason why your reward is greater is because the guy who gives tzedakah is enacting tzedek, but you are causing like this huge proliferation of tzedek. You're like bringing tzedek into into other people, so that's interesting. I mean, it stands to reason. It just sounds weird, right? Like if you get, what's better, you doing a mitzvah or getting lots of people to do a mitzvah, getting lots of people to do a mitzvah, and then you shrink that down to the smallest scale, you getting your fellow Jew to do a mitzvah, I mean, I think it's weird to say it's greater than, but yeah, I'm not sure. I talk myself out of it. Yeah, Joseph?
What's the image you're having in your head? It's like the image I have in my head, and this is a tax collector.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So then just more or less an idea of like personal improvement, as I just do not see a tax collector having an effect on the way you personally do the world, more or less just bearing this in the
okay, so it's right. Okay, here. Why don't you guys let's get everything on the table and then I'll respond. Yeah.
Other question is this kofa? I guess
he's a kaifa.
Is he giving tzedakah as well, or is he just like persuading others to do it?
I assume he's also doing his mitzvah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Well, you're saying that it's like good intentions, right? Meaning he's not forcing people to, like, he's forcing people because they should do the mitzvah, not
right. Yeah. So I mean the good
benefits, like, look, guys, I got you one. I mean, maybe that's.
So I mean, I was learning it that you see from here that the intentions don't really matter, right? Like that the main thing is that this guy is facilitating the collection and distribution of tzedakah, and Yosef is right that it seems like this guy is not necessarily getting personal perfection. out of it in the way that we've described like a few halachos earlier, but he is like facilitating tzedakah on a mass level. And you know, one thing I'm getting from going through this whole area, over these past months is that like there is a tension in tzedakah between like the personal perfection you're getting out of it and like the objective good that you're doing, and sometimes it sounds like one wins over the other.
I misunderstood. Why are you saying that you're not getting the perfection?
Well, he's just saying that the image. You want to say? Yeah.
Also, I think I'm guessing how you're thinking along the lines of the people who are giving tzedakah aren't getting, which is also what I was more saying. Which isn't really relevant because it's also difficult.
I thought what you were saying was that like a guy who's like a tax collector, like is not necessarily doing this with the same empathy and compassion and stuff like that that the previous person we saw yesterday is doing. Like he's just like, like you picture like a person at the DMV. I know that's not how government tzedakahs work. Like they're not really getting perfection out of like collecting like charges for your, I don't know why I'm thinking DMV. I guess because we don't really have tax collectors coming around. IRS, yeah, but they don't really come around and collect, but like if they did, I think it wouldn't be like this highly perfected level. Yeah. Wait, Yosef first.
I don't think that the Dubai were paid.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah.
So there's maybe a big key difference between our tax collectors and them.
Still, I feel like the fact that they're doing it, in this impersonal way. Yeah.
I don't know if he's talking about I don't.
Well, we said it's not tzedakah if you give it with an angry face, but if someone extracts it from.
I'm saying like the image of a tax collector.
Yeah.
The IRS, it wouldn't go around. They're not getting taxes.
But it is tzedakah. They are. I mean, I don't know how we regard a gabbai tzedakah halachically, but like, I mean, in some sense, I'm going to use this in the loosest sense possible. He is a shliach for you to do your tzedakah, right? We don't say that if you give your tzedakah to a gabbai, then you haven't done the mitzvah tzedakah because you're not directly interacting with the ani, right? He is, like he's somehow an agent.
I'm saying what a tax collector is.
Right.
I'm saying that like
yeah, right. He is right, but in image and in practice, like it is going to take the form of kind of like.
I don't know that, I know. Yeah. I mean,
the benevolent tax collector.
Yeah.
From my experience of people who do that in Memphis.
Yeah.
Doing tzedakah the way the dialogue was.
Okay, I mean, look, we're not. There's nothing confining us to say that this is one particular mode. Like you could also be a bad gabbai, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we're blowing Yosef's point out of proportion. Yosef's only point was this guy is doing it on a mass scale as part of his job, not paid job, and that like. It is interesting that like that is a far cry from what we described as being an av to Aniyim and like that kind of close interaction with the
I just want to tell you sound like a really important thing. That because he's doing it at he's lacking, like really only lacking in that quality. That's what I'm telling you. I don't think that has to be at the moment.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
It seems like this guy is closer, but this guy being a gabbai is going to be closer to that figure that we talked about in halacha, right? Closer
ideally
than the other people, right? So I think that's all I'm saying. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Akiva.
What was it again?
Hey was that you should be like empathetic and not yell and speak Saknunim. Yeah.
It seems like even if he wasn't getting perfection, he could be making up for it by causing other people.
Right. Yeah. That's
like this.
Yeah. That's along the lines that I'm thinking of, and also like the fact that this guy day in and day out is like. I don't know if he did day in and day out. However, whatever the hours are, he is basically his whole role is ensuring on a communal level that Aniyim get their needs. That's going to have an effect on his midos as well, even if he's, even if it's not like distributing from his own personal sums. Because I think we can all agree to this, is that if I have hard-earned money and I part ways with it to give to an ani, that act of giving is not the same thing as the guy who is distributing other people's money. So in that sense, it's like it's not just like this gabbai is doing regular tzedakah plus. It is a different role. Yeah.
And I feel like another aspect of maybe how his star can be greater is that like because he's interacting with the Aniyim, there's like that emotional pull, like to like shy away from
Mhm.
that he's constantly fighting,
Right.
he's constantly becoming
Right.
Friendly with
He's
them.
definitely going to have greater exposure. And this is,
Yeah.
we to be fair to the halachic system, we actually did not read the parak about Gabbai Tzedakah. The whole parak test is about people who are Gabbai Tzedakah. And I bet we would get facts if we did that. You know,
Are we gonna go back and do that?
I mean, I would like to, but we skipped it because I was sensing pressure to like get onto a different topic, but maybe we should. Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess also to give the guy credit, he
Yeah.
should be getting correction because, yeah, maybe he's not giving tzedakah like from his own wealth. But,
Yeah.
you know, they not begging, like bugging people and like forcing them and like trying to convince them and
Yeah.
having to deal with people in order for them to get money in order for you. You're very involved.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
you're a
true.
good man,
So
but-
to give an analogy, I am listening to, I think it's on the Orthodox Conundrum podcast. This woman who is an activist for like changing the way that the rabbis in Israel do aguna cases, and she is asked the question, like, what got you into this? And so she basically said her aunt was like the victim of this horrible aguna case. That wasn't just like the husband refused to give a get, but like all of like the Beis Din like said, okay, we just lost all your paperwork. And then like, and then they like, they did just a bunch of horrible stuff. And so like this woman, because she was an advocate, became very, very passionately involved in the cause, but through advocacy, not through like, it's like the gabbai has to be an advocate on behalf of the poor. And if he's doing this day in and day out, and if his job is to like raise funds, that is gonna shape him a lot in a good way. So he's gonna get a lot of protection through that. Yeah. Should we go back to the parak 9? Or do you want to really get to the
What's the choices?
The choices are, well, so we're in 10, which is the last parak, and we are, just to show you visually how much we have here is, next on tap is the 8 levels of tzedakah. So he goes through all the 8, and then the preferable ways to give tzedakah, then the superiority of not taking tzedakah, and then that's the end. And then, so that's like, we can finish that off. And then 9, the subtopics, there's no subtopics in here. Oh yeah, subtopics here. The kupa shel tzedakah and the tamkui, those are like the communal tzedakah pots. And then collecting tzedakah of the kupa and the tamkui. And the only reason I skipped this initially was because A, this is not as practically relevant to us. And B, I have no clue whether, and maybe this is why we should do it, I have no clue whether our communal tzedakah organizations follow these principles, or if this is just like how things were set up back then, and to what extent they follow it. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I think finishing Parak Yud is a good thing. Also, we have to remember that we want to switch. We're going to want to switch to Purim stuff soon, and then Pesach stuff. So there's gonna be like a yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's today. We're not gonna read all of them. Let's just start off the 8 levels. Okay. Shmona malos yesh b'tzedakah. There are 8 levels in the collecting of tzedakah. Zol l'mala mizo. Each one higher than the next. I don't know which direction he's going. Mala Gedola. Okay, this is starting with the highest one. Mala Gedola she'in lamala mimeno. The highest level where there's none higher than it. Zeh hamachzik b'yad Yisrael shemach. This is someone who strengthens the hand of a Jew who has become impoverished. V'nosein lo matana o halva'a o ose imo shutfus o mamsi lo malacha. And either gives him a gift or a loan or a partnership, makes partnership or finds a job for him. Kedei l'chazik es yado shelo yitztarech labrios. All of this in order to strengthen his hand so that he is not dependent on people, so he doesn't need people, v'lo yishal, and so he doesn't have to ask. That's what it means in the pasuk when it says you should strengthen him, the ger and the toshab, and he shall live with you. Strengthen him so that he doesn't fall and be in need. Yeah. So I think matana so that he doesn't need people. And most of the matanos
that
like most of the matanos that we give are not enough to make it so that it makes them independent. Let's just check out the Makbili here. Machzik Biad Yisrael. There's the one here. No. Machzik Biad Yisrael Hatomich Biyehudi, someone who supports a Jew. Ma'ala zo hi hachashuva shebehen mipnei shemoti oso mi ma'agal ha'oni. It takes him out of the cycle of poverty. Right, so that's like the type of matana. Like benefactor, yeah. Although benefactor to me implies like an ongoing relationship, which would be dependent. So it has to be like a huge, enough to like lift them out of poverty. Yeah. Mach is peches ma'amado hakalkali, meaning his socioeconomic standing is lowered. Okay, halva is mitzvah to say lahalvos la'aniyei Yisrael. So this is a separate mitzvah to say to loan to the poor Jews. Poor Israelites. Mitzvah zo gedola min hatzedakah al ha'ani hashoel. That mitzvah of loaning to the Jew is greater than the tzedakah to an ani who asks. Shezeh kvar nitzrach lishol, because the guy who asks already needed to the point where he asked. V'zeh adayin lo higia l'midah zo. This guy has not yet gotten to that point. So that's another interesting thing, right? That what makes it a greater mitzvah is you're anticipating the needs of the person as opposed to responding to the needs. That's not what the Rambam means by the halva here. I don't think, because he's here seems to be including, he's talking about someone who already is poor. But in Malve Velove, he is talking about the paradigm form of that mitzvah, which is loaning so he doesn't need money. Yeah, because it's. Well, I mean, he does seem to be saying though, because it is preemptive. So if the guy is in need and you loan him, then that's not the case he's talking about. Because he says, right? No, that's not the case he's talking about here. Shezeh kavar nitzrach lishol.
No, I'm
here is 8 loaves of tzedakah. So we're already in the case where the guy is mach, where he's already poor, right? Yeah, right, correct. Let's just do one more, and so we can have a basis of comparison, and then we'll have to go through this after. Pachos mizeh, lower than this, anosin tzedakah l'aniyim v'lo yada l'minasan. So this is giving tzedakah to aniyim and not knowing who you give it to. V'lo yada he'ani mimilata. So double blind, right? That you don't know who you're giving to, and they don't know who they're getting it from. Shehar yizo mitzvah lishma. That's an interesting use of lishma. This is a mitzvah lishma. Kagon lishkas chashayim shehaisa b'mikdash, like the chamber of whispers. I don't know if that's actually literally what it means. That's what it sounds like. Chashayim, miloshin chashay b'seser. So the chamber of hidden things in the mikdash. So what was that? Yeah, Shai. There's all these like lishkos in the mikdash that I always feel like there's a new one every time I look at the map. Shai hatzadikim nostim ba b'chashay. That the tzadikim would give into it in secret. V'haniyim b'nei tovim misparnasim mimena b'chashay. And then the aniyim would get their livelihood from it in secret. So there are things like that set up now, right? Like that the aniyim can come and go as they please. And yeah, right. Vakarov Lazeh, close to this, as we got a sub-level here, Hanosin Latoch Kupa Shel Tzedakah, someone who puts it into a tzedakah box, Velo Yitain Adam Latoch Kupa Shel Tzedakah, Ela Im Kain Yodea Shehamamuna Neman B'chacham Yodea Lin Hogba Kshura V'Chanania Ben Tradion. So a person should not put money into a tzedakah box unless he knows that the one appointed over it is reliable and a chacham, that's interesting, he has to be a chacham, and knows how to conduct himself properly like Hanania Ben Tradion. Okay, I don't even know Hanan Ben Tradion, and I feel like people don't do this, right? I mean, he's not saying, well, he is saying you shouldn't put it into a tzedakah box unless you know this. Yeah, but I feel like people put money into random tzedakah boxes, right? That's the thing, right? Yeah. All right, so we'll have to look into this tomorrow. Okay, let's stop for today, though. Yeah.
Interesting observation, also. That,
yeah.
Like, the first level, you're interacting with the other.
That's also true, right?
Level, he says a level lower than that is when no one knows who it is, and that's the shema.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah. Right. Right. It's not. Yeah. Correct. That's a good point. Yeah.
It also seems to me like everything is said in like
yeah.
like you're trying to cultivate the because I don't know if like humanize
right.
Like
that's true.
The ultimate form of
right. You're not even interacting with the other. Right. That's a good point also. All right. Yeah. All right. We have to examine these things. Yeah. We have to see levels in terms of what, right? Like that's really going to be the question because it doesn't seem to be in terms of perfection.